Oh. Sadness. So you find yourself downtown. I don't care what the town is. I don't care how you got there. Maybe you ride a bike to work. Maybe you stick a bike in the back of your truck and bring it with you to work. But if you've got an e-bike, it seems like a great way to get out of town. I am in downtown Salt Lake City right now. I'm gonna head south about 50 miles roughly and try to mimic an urban bug out. Right now I've got one bag with an extra battery, chest rig, some normal clothes. Let's talk about clothes for just a second. A lot of people, they're going to find themselves in a situation like this. They're going to be wearing some sort of work clothes, and the best solution for that really is a turnout bag. And a turnout bag is essentially what firefighters use. It's essentially a bag that you can change your clothes into. I've already changed my clothes. I want to mention that because it's important. If we take a look at what happened during 9/11, a majority of the people that found themselves downtown after the trade towers went down, they had business suits and flat shoes or high heels and dresses. That is not something you want to travel or spend any good duration of time on. So first things first, running shoes. I got some pants, t-shirt, and the reality is this is something that I wear pretty regularly, pretty normally. Even this chest rig, some people want to poo-poo it, but it works great. It's good for holding dinosaurs. It's good for holding wallets, stuff that you need, snacks, that kind of thing. So it's time to move. It's 6:13 at night. I got up here way later. I rode the train to get up here, and I'm going to be pedaling into the dark. And I think that's a good thing, because for this mock tryout bug out, that's pretty indicative of about what time most people would be getting off if they worked in a cement jungle like this. In a wilderness environment, you've got to stop and grab water while you can get it. In an urban environment, you've got a lot of unorthodox ways that you can get a hold of water, and it's good to stop and grab them while they're possible. Now, if grid was down, I don't know if there would be, sprinklers running or not, but it's something to think about. If you need to stop and get water, this is a good place to get it. I've got a B3 and Katadyn filter that I can load up. I've got water at the moment, but what I don't have is something to cool me off. I should be able to drink straight out of something like that, even though it's in an urban environment. Okay, I want to talk real quick about covert camping. Right now, I'm on the side of a big road. You guys in Salt Lake City, I'm over by the zoo. So I'm probably downstream of a bunch of zoo poop. Having said that, right down here is a great place to covert camp. Basically, you're not the only person in the area. There's people that live around here. Camouflage is key. I have, and I'm not going to camp here right now, but I have camouflage netting, 2 different types, so I can cover up myself and my bike. It's kind of a darker colored bike anyway. I mean, obviously that fits in an urban environment, but it's a little bit darker. Little side note, your Hill People Gear chest rig fits right there just perfectly, in case you were wondering. So essentially what you would want to do is find a level spot, maybe chain your bike to a tree, cover it up in this debris and stuff, cover it up with a netting, and then just crash. I'm kind of torn on whether I would advise hearing protection. Like, sometimes you need sleep, and if you use noise canceling headphones, you're actually going to get sleep. If you're exhausted, you know, get a few hours and get out of there. But look for wild environments inside of the urban areas that you can bunker down, hide, catch wild game, find wild edibles, make tools. A lot of people think there isn't wilderness in the city. There is, but unfortunately there's a lot of city in the city too. So also, like I said, this is downstream from a zoo, so who knows what's in that water. But with my Be Free Katadine bottle, and no, they don't sponsor me, I just bought it, I wouldn't hesitate to go down there and load it up with water and get a drink. I shouldn't need to because there's a lot of urban related stuff, but maybe in the case of an earthquake or fire or something, that's going to be a lot better option than trying to steal something off of a faucet somewhere. I'm in a good spot to take a pause. So I used to live over against the bench over here, and this is my old trail running area. When I decided to plan how, if I was in this area and an earthquake happened, a massive fire, bombing, riots, whatever, I think the best thing for me, and whatever you could call my skill set, is go straight to the mountain and follow it down, follow it south, follow it north. There happens to be a trail in this area called the Bonneville Shoreline Trail. Bird moment. Let's talk about water real quick. It's a desert. I'm wearing clothes that are way warmer than my normal biking clothes. There's a trade-off. I get something that I can run in if I have to ditch the bike, and I get clothes that are warm that allow me to kind of sleep on the side of the mountain. But then I'm going to overheat a little bit. And my water theory has always been camel up, tank as much as you can in your belly, then fill up your backpack and that kind of thing. If you're going to do this for more than 2 or 3 days, bring salt. But camel up, load up, keep rolling. Beautiful drive out here. That's awesome. I'm looking at all these areas as I'm cruising along because it's kind of about sunset time, if I don't drop the camera. And right over the edge right here is just a plethora of piñata. No, it is a great place that you could, in fact, I think it's a tent right there. You could come right down here and just like covert camp. Just tuck up underneath the tree, cover your stuff up. Right there on the edge. And the thing about a nice long ride like this and going a big distance like this is you got a lot of time to sit here and think, right? You can say, well, what if I evade that fire over there, or if I go this way and camp over on the side of the hill? You know, you also start learning more about places when you walk or run or ride your bike, because you're moving a little slower and you get the chance to see, hey, there's a good place to poop right there. Or maybe, that rock just hit me in the foot. Or maybe if it was winter time, you could camp in that outhouse right there. And you also start noticing trails and alternative routes and just learning more about your environment and what's there. Like even right there, that grate, I have to assume there's some water underneath it. And it'd also be a good place to camp underneath because no one's gonna look through it, you know, aside from the noise. It'd be a great place to camp. And clearly in this part of Utah, that whole canyon's full of amazing places to camp and places you can go. I'm hoping to go to that far mountain right there. I'm trying to point with my pinky and camp on the back side of that tonight. We'll see if I can make it before the sun gets down. I want to throw a quick plug for Garmin. I got a Instinct Tactical 2, and the thing's amazing. The thing I'm liking right now is I see the sun comes up at 6:30. It goes down at 8:25. It's got 48 hours of power. Like, it's got heart rate, a bunch of other stuff. And just cruising along right now is going to recharge it with the solar. I spent last week out in the outdoors using this thing, and if you're out every day for even half of the day, you'll never need to recharge this thing. So as far as a survival watch is concerned, this thing's amazing. It's got the majority of the functions of an Apple Watch. It doesn't have Find My Phone, but it does have wallet, GPS functions that are better, a whole bunch of really cool stuff. I just can't recommend enough. The coolest thing is that light. Check that out. It's like a big old spotlight that turns sideways instead of just a big bright screen. Anyway, enough about my watch that I've been playing with. Lady just smoked me, and time to pedal. My battery is not even down by a full percentage yet. Can't speak highly enough about these Magnum bikes so far. All right, enough about the crap, let's get going. All right, I want to dispel some myths while I'm out here riding around for a minute. An e-bike, everyone thinks that you have to have electricity to pedal it. You don't. If you've ever ridden one of those big tire, fat tire bikes, it's basically like riding one of those. I can dial this all the way down. So right now, it's off, right? There's eco mode, tour mode. If I dial it down, yes, I'm pedaling harder. But it's not any different than if I was driving a touring bike with this much weight on it anyway. The only thing extra is the weight of the battery and the negligible weight of the motor. So you can, and the other thing is you can get a lot of distance out of these things if all you do is use it in eco mode, or just use it when you want to climb hills and then shut it off the rest of the time. Or you can just crank it all the way up and go really fast. Anyway, that's something I wanted to talk about real quick, because I've seen a lot of comments on earlier videos where we talked about e-bikes, and everybody's like, well, if the battery dies, bring two. I've got a second battery right there, and if I really need to, I can spend the night somewhere, plug into a 7-Eleven in a back room and recharge them both, right? Or I just ride up one battery worth of juice and charge it at night, or I bring 3 batteries, whatever. The point is, it's an assistance that's super valuable to me, that drastically extends my range during the day. And if you're smart about it and use it only when you need it, like, basically your ability to be ecological will significantly increase your distance that you can travel. Sometimes you just gotta stop pedaling, check out the emus and the zebra. I suppose that'd be a good guard dog in SHTF, or maybe a really big Thanksgiving dinner. The zebra is right over there and the emu is right over here. Okay, back to the ride. Oh. Oh. Sadness. Oh. It's all right. That's why you bring water. It's getting dark, time to find a place to camp. I'm in a canyon between 2 cities, going up the canyon. Super glad I got an e-bike right now. About 8:30. 8:39, supposed to be sunset at 8:25, so I'm ready to lose my light. Time to camo up. Fortunately, there's a headlight on this e-bike. If I was in a bug out situation, I just have to do it in the dark. Your eyes will adjust about 30-40 minutes after dark when the stars come out, but until then, you're kind of night blind a little bit. I needed that. Even though it's an e-bike, you still got to pedal. You still got to give some of the input. It just kind of gives you that extra 10-20%. So He's faster than everybody else. Though I did have a road bike guy cruise past me going down a hill. Impressed, very impressed. Desert rule. This is a half a gallon, drink 2 a day. Keeps you from having to boil cups. I see people with these little cups and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna boil water in this. Yeah, you need to boil that 16 times a day. This one you can do it twice. Plus it's a lot easier to keep track how much water you've taken down when you know you gotta drink 2 of these a day.
Just waking up this morning. Last night, that's my bag, my hat, covered up with one of these camo knitting, and the bike over there kind of slid into the bushes. Really close to a hiking trail. Got my pistol and stuff in the bag right there, made a good pillow. And then just phones plugged into the battery pack to get it charged during the night. So, a little covert camping. Sun's coming up. Time to get going. I slept pretty good. It was, I slept right on the ground. I have a snug pack, jungle pack, and a Marine Corps bivy shelter that keeps the bugs off my face, and if in case it rains, it can close. So, looks like this. Got this little vent you can sit here and sleep with, or this little guy right there, you can zip it up, and then if it rains, you're inside of a rain sack, basically. So I gotta pack up and get moving. It's a good night. The crickets were super loud. Yeah, not too different from when I worked as a Ford observer. All right, time to go. I'm really close to the head of a trail. I basically come up that canyon last night in the dark, which was interesting. So I could stop and eat, and I've taken in about a half a gallon of water since I left yesterday. So pretty simple, man. Just throw the bag on the frame of the e-bike and head out. But anyway, so yeah, I basically camped right there, tucked into the trees, kind of a walking space, but it's off the path. Stuffed my bike right there and put some camo netting over it. Nobody bothered me last night, except for the crickets. The crickets were super annoying. Okay, all right, so I gotta get going. I think I'm gonna find a place to eat some food real quick. If this was a real urban bug out, the majority of stuff you're avoiding is super geographical, right? Like maybe there's an earthquake and you can't get back because the highways are crushed. Well, you can go around that stuff on an e-bike real easily. And maybe there's a fire, right? You can head the opposite direction that the wind's blowing, or angular to the wind, so that you're not going to get chased by the fire or run into the fire. Anyway, the point is have super mobility in a way that can cover massive distances, and then you really only need to go for a day or two, so you don't need to eat, but you want to if you don't want to get cranky. And that's why I had the nutrient survival packs in there and a little bit of water. And once you get out of an area like that, once you get out of an affected area, you should be able to use cash to purchase food of some sort. I've got Garmin Pay, which is like Apple Pay on my watch, for my wallet, so I've got redundancies there. But have just a little bit of food, have a lot of water, and move quickly and get out of the area. All right, man, time to get pedaling again. Okay, battery's dead.
It kept pushing for quite a while, even after it said that it was dead. But it's time to change it. This is 20 amp battery. I've got a 17 amp battery back there, and I think I've gone about 40 miles. I should have reset that by now, but kind of gives you a basis of comparison. And I have been in sport, turbo, or occasionally boost mode the whole way, but mostly sport and turbo, which is like the middle or middle high setting, just to push all the weight. Okay, let me get this thing changed real quick. The interesting thing about getting out of an urban area is there's just so much stuff, so much people. It's kind of impossible to really blend in and not bring equipment. And I would have not been able to sleep last night had I not had that snug pack. Had I not had the snug pack and the bivvy shelter. But I'm here in a park that's along the side of a bike trail. I'm gonna grab some breakfast. Also, if you can do this for more than a couple days, you definitely want to plan on a way to take a shower. Hop in a creek or something to get stanky. I've got a little bike kit that has a bunch of like Allen wrenches and stuff, and then some big Allen wrenches because this bike takes some bigger than normal Allen wrenches. CO2 cartridge to refill it, and then I've got a tire in the bottom there. And the one weird thing I need is an 18 millimeter wrench, and that's to take the back axle off, because it's not like a pedal bike where you can just twist it on with enough pressure. This thing's got a lot of torque that's being added from the motor, so you need an actual 18 millimeter wrench to pull that apart. Okay, time for some breakfast. Might go refill some water. All right, I've got Nutrient Survival Chocolate Grain Crunch, Special Ops Rocks with caffeine. More Special Ops Rocks. A Nutrient Survival Peanut Butter Bar Meal. I'm back. That was fun. Let's talk about lessons learned. 2 batteries. You need at least 2 batteries. You need to bring a key. I brought my key, but if you didn't bring your key, you would not be able to swap your battery out. This Peak T5 has been pretty awesome. It's got a lockout on the front shock. It gives me the ability to get a little more efficiency in the pedal. I probably have gone, actually I know I've gone 22 miles, and that's the battery usage on a 17 amp hour battery. It's 48 volts, 17 amp. This guy is a little sloppy, and I went over a bump and it popped off and ripped a hole in my strap. Just come down there and hit my tire. The problem is I've got that heavy battery on top, so if I had to do this again, I would get a pad on the bottom of the rack and put 1 or 2 batteries down there so they're at a low center of gravity and they're not slapping around. And then I would get a 3rd strap. This is 2 straps, one going top on the front, one on the back. And then I would put a strap from the back to the front, like I've kind of done with this jerry rig strap right here. So let me see if I can undo this. Probably not with one hand. A belly stock pack is awesome. I love this thing. It's very cool. I can put a lot of junk in there, really smash it in there and pull hard on the zippers. It's got some good pulls. Nothing is ripped or falling apart on me. Let's get that big battery off of there. Drop the battery, not too happy with that. Is an e-bike a viable urban bug out? Absolutely. I think it's a viable semi-long distance travel bike. You can pedal it without the battery. It's just a lot funner to be able to go 22, 25 miles an hour constantly. So a lot of pull. I've been pulling this little stroller with my kid in it, which is nice. So you could add pull a stroller with it, and there's as many batteries in there as you could afford. So yeah, as far as blending in, I don't blend in at all with what I've got on. I think if you really wanted to do this, you need a turnout bag with the clothes that you're gonna wear in case something bad happens, because you're gonna wear your biking clothes or your work clothes or whatever. Then you change into those clothes, ditch your work clothes there at the city get on the bike. You're going to want water and snacks at a minimum. And it wouldn't be bad to carry a charger with you, so that if you do get to a location where you can charge, great. And if you don't, so be it. If I had a place I could have left a battery last night, I could have charged it all night long and just used one battery. Nothing wrong with 2 batteries. And I think this is about a 55, 60 mile trip. All right, guys, if you have any comments, concerns, questions, leave them below. Maybe I'll do another video with what I had in my bag. And you have a tendency to overpack. The reality is you want to pack just enough to have what you need in case something really bad goes down. So like you won't regret not having it, but go light enough so that if the bike craps out or I got to go on foot, I can now throw that backpack on myself with the counterbalance with my pistol and ammo and light and lighter and stuff up in that hill people gear, and I can hoof it in my running shoes. All right, guys. Comments, questions, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Bye.